Colonel Mark Reynolds stood at the military command center, his eyes fixed on the darkening sky. Massive alien ships had materialized, blocking out the sun and casting a shadow over the base. The sight was foreboding, sending waves of anxiety through the ranks. Soldiers hurriedly moved to their posts, the atmosphere charged with tension. The crackle of communications filled the air with frantic reports, each one amplifying the urgency of the situation. "Status report," Reynolds commanded, his grip tightening on the console. The screen flickered to life, revealing a chaotic scene. "Sir, the ships are entering Earth's atmosphere. We estimate a full-scale invasion within minutes," Lieutenant Thompson reported, his voice betraying just a hint of unease. Despite their extensive training for combat, they had never anticipated such a bizarre turn of events. As the alien vessels broke through the clouds, an audible gasp resonated through the command center. The ships sparkled in the sunlight, their sleek design standing in stark contrast to humanity's more rudimentary technology. Reynolds' heart raced, envisioning the potential devastation these vessels could unleash. "Deploy all ground forces," he ordered, his voice firm even as the rising panic bubbled beneath the surface. He had led troops into countless battles, but this felt distinctly different. The odds were not in their favor. "Sir, wait!" Thompson shouted, his eyes glued to the monitor. A wave of unease washed over them as they witnessed the aliens begin to disembark. But instead of fierce warriors, the beings tumbled awkwardly from their ships. Their armored suits seemed ill-suited for Earth's heavier gravity, and they struggled to regain their footing, limbs flailing comically as they fell. Laughter erupted in the command center, a sound that felt almost out of place in the midst of crisis. "What are they doing?" Reynolds asked, disbelief mingling with a tinge of amusement as he observed the chaos. "They can't handle our gravity, sir." Thompson chuckled, his tension easing as he watched the aliens slip and slide, trying to march forward. The sight was absurd, eliciting bursts of laughter from the nearby soldiers. For a brief moment, the heavy atmosphere lightened, but Reynolds' instincts told him to remain vigilant. "Prepare for engagement." "This isn't a game," Reynolds snapped, though he couldn't suppress a grin at the absurdity unfolding before him. The aliens, with their advanced technology, were reduced to clumsy, bewildered figures. Yet, he knew beneath that ridiculous exterior lay potential danger. "Listen up," he addressed the troops, voice steady. "These aliens may look foolish, but they're dangerous." Amidst the laughter, one alien managed to stabilize itself, raising a sleek rifle that seemed out of place in its unsteady hands. Reynolds felt a chill run down his spine. "Engage," he commanded, but the order came too late. The alien fired a blast of energy, the shot missing wildly and striking a nearby tree, which splintered under the impact. More laughter echoed through the troops, but it was now tinged with disbelief. Could these aliens truly be so inept? They continued to stumble over themselves, their movements increasingly comedic. The human soldiers exchanged incredulous glances, caught between disbelief and amusement. It was a surreal sight, an invasion that felt like slapstick comedy. "Look at them," one soldier shouted, pointing as an alien stumbled and knocked another down. The infectious chaos prompted the soldiers to chuckle, but Reynolds quickly regained control. "Keep it together, men," he shouted, striving to maintain discipline. "The aliens may be floundering, but it won't last forever. Let's prepare for a counteroffensive." They might be clumsy, but they were still armed, and Reynolds knew they had to act before the moment slipped away. "On my mark," he shouted, adrenaline surging through his veins. "Aim for their legs. Bring them down." The soldiers nodded, their earlier laughter fading as they positioned their rifles. Hearts pounded with a mix of fear and anticipation. 3, 2, 1, fire. The air erupted with gunfire, a cacophony that shattered the fleeting amusement. The aliens had arrived with intentions to conquer, but they were now confronted by the unexpected resilience of humanity, flawed, unpredictable, but undeniably tenacious. The battlefield morphed from laughter to chaos as bullets whizzed past the clumsy aliens, who struggled to regain their balance. Some of them managed to lift their weapons in response, but Reynolds knew they needed to capitalize on the confusion. "Target their weapons," he ordered, and the soldiers adjusted their aim. The clamor of gunfire escalated, mingling with the frantic shouts of troops and the aliens' desperate attempts to regroup. One soldier, Private Daniels, stepped forward, urgency etched on his face. "Sir, they're falling back. We can push them now. Follow me," Reynolds shouted, leading the charge as the soldiers advanced with weapons raised. They surged through the haze of smoke, adrenaline propelling them forward. Each step brought them closer to the disoriented aliens, who were now retreating toward their ships. Reynolds spotted an alien commander, its sleek armor glinting in the sunlight as it tried to coordinate the retreat, but its orders were lost in the confusion. Soldiers slipped on the slick ground, adding to the disarray. "Now's our chance," Reynolds yelled, urging his men to press the attack. The soldiers surged forward, the united front against the scattered alien ranks. The aliens faltered, trying to regain their footing under the relentless pressure of the human advance. "Take them down," Reynolds commanded, his voice cutting through the chaos. "No mercy." The aliens weren't just slow, they were panicked. Their sophisticated technology had become a liability, and as the humans pushed forward, the alien ranks began to break apart, scattering like leaves caught in a storm. "Push them back," Thompson shouted, spotting an alien struggling to reload its weapon. He aimed carefully and fired, the alien falling with a look of shock frozen on its face. The soldiers erupted in cheers, the tide of battle shifting in their favor. "Keep moving," Reynolds yelled, his heart pounding with renewed determination. "We have them on the ropes." But just as victory seemed within reach, an ominous rumble echoed overhead. More alien ships descended, their massive forms blotting out the sun once again. Reynolds cursed under his breath. Reinforcements. They were far from finished. "Regroup," he shouted, urgency infusing his words. "We need to hold this position." The soldiers moved quickly, forming a perimeter around the retreating aliens. However, the sight of the incoming vessels drained their momentum, a heavy fog of fear settling over them. "Sir, what do we do?" Daniels asked, panic creeping into his voice. "Stay focused," Reynolds commanded, the human troops tightening their formation, weapons raised. The first wave of reinforcements landed, alien soldiers pouring from their ships, their numbers dwarfing the human ranks. "Remember what we've trained for," Reynolds shouted, hoping to instill confidence amidst the rising tension. "We fight for our home." As the aliens advanced, Reynolds spotted a small group of soldiers separated from the main force, having fallen behind during the chaos. He raised his hand, signaling for them to regroup, but an alien soldier spotted them first and raised its weapon. "Get down!" Reynolds shouted, diving toward the ground as an energy blast whizzed overhead, striking a nearby tree and sending debris flying. "Flank them!" Reynolds yelled, grabbing a nearby soldier. "We'll cut off their escape." With quick coordination, they moved left, drawing fire away from the main group. The soldiers moved like a well-oiled machine, instincts honed from countless drills kicking in. They worked together, dodging, weaving, and striking as the aliens faltered, clearly unprepared for the fierce counterattack. Reynolds caught sight of panic on the aliens' faces, a flicker of fear igniting within them. For the first time, they looked like prey instead of conquerors. "Press forward!" Reynolds shouted, heart pounding with adrenaline. They had seized the moment, and he refused to let it slip away. The soldiers advanced, pushing deeper into the alien ranks. "On me!" he yelled, charging ahead. The soldiers followed, their spirits lifted by the momentum of victory. The aliens struggled to maintain their formation, confusion spreading like wildfire. "Close in!" Reynolds ordered, and the humans moved with purpose, ready to strike at the heart of the alien force. The battlefield erupted into chaos, a symphony of battle cries and gunfire, the air thick with smoke and tension. As Reynolds fought through the chaos, he caught sight of the alien commander, its frustration boiling over as it tried to regain control. "Daniels, with me!" Reynolds shouted, charging toward the commander. "Take it down!" The two men sprinted forward, weaving through the disoriented aliens. The commander raised its weapon, but in a split second, Reynolds tackled Daniels to the ground as a blast of energy shot overhead, sizzling through the air. "Let's finish this!" Reynolds shouted, pushing to his feet. They were close now, adrenaline fueling their movements. The alien commander turned, eyes wide with panic. "Fire!" Reynolds commanded, and bullets erupted from their rifles, hitting the alien commander dead on. It staggered, armor crackling and sparking under the onslaught. But even as the commander fell, more aliens poured from their ships, their numbers seemingly infinite. Reynolds felt the weight of desperation settle in again, the initial victory slipping through his fingers. "Regroup," he shouted, signaling for a retreat. "Fall back to the perimeter." The soldiers understood the stakes now, having witnessed the chaos unfold. "We fight together," Thompson yelled, rallying the troops onward. Reynolds roared, moving back into the fray. They had come too far to turn back. He felt the fire in their hearts ignite, a collective defiance against the looming alien threat. The humans fought side by side, forming a barrier against the incoming aliens as energy blasts flew overhead. "Remember why we fight," Reynolds shouted. "This is our planet. We will protect it." The soldiers surged forward, a wave of humanity against the tide of alien forces. Each step felt heavy, but their spirits soared. They fought not just for survival, but for the very essence of what it meant to be human. Then something changed. The aliens faltered, their coordination breaking apart as the human soldiers pressed forward. The tide began to shift once more. Reynolds could see the fear in the aliens' eyes, the realization that they were not invincible. "Keep pushing!" Reynolds shouted, adrenaline coursing through his veins. "We're taking back our home." As the battle raged on, the humans pressed deeper into the alien ranks. They fought with everything they had, refusing to yield. With every alien that fell, their confidence grew. Finally, the last wave of aliens turned to flee, stumbling back toward their ships. For the first time, the human soldiers felt the weight of victory settle around them. "Victory!" Thompson shouted, throwing his arms into the air. The remaining soldiers erupted into cheers, their voices rising above the chaos. Reynolds stood tall, heart pounding with pride. They had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious. The aliens had come to conquer, but had instead found the indomitable spirit of humanity. As the last of the alien ships ascended, leaving behind a battlefield filled with fallen foes, Reynolds turned to his men. "This day belongs to us," he declared, their laughter ringing out amidst the echoes of battle. "We are humanity, and we will never back down."